Sup, it's Hallie. Welcome back to Lisa the Joyful. When we last left off, we were training to beat the warlords of Olathe, and we're still doing that. Last time we beat 125 dudes! And that's less than we beat the first time, probably because we spent so long fighting the warlords and experimenting. But it was important to experiment with them because we learned some things. Yeah, as far as I can tell, they just start attacking. They start doing their warlord combo after the third turn where they've taken damage. And that's kind of informed how I want to handle the fight. Because it's really tempting to use the Joker strikes on dice. But the problem with that is they're really RNG. And I don't want my success in the battle to come down to random chance. Like, Joker Strikes does have more potential damage than Behead would, or whatever. But, it's simply not ideal. You really don't want to leave things up to chance if you can help it. It's kind of going to depend on how much damage he takes from firebombs anyway. Oh, I need to, like, check my status screen. There you go. That's how much experience she still needs to get to the next level. But anyway, yeah, so I was thinking about it, and the smart way to do it might be to set myself up such that I can behead 4 turns in a row by making sure as many of the other warlords are asleep when I start the assault as possible. Basically what that amounts to. Because we seriously need to make sure Dice takes as much damage as possible. And we can do 4 turns in a row because the fourth strike would be the turn that they start doing the Warlord combo, and we would have Second Wind up to prevent our dying there, regardless of what our health status might be. But it also occurred to me there might be another problem we run into with this fight. It's not just a matter of surviving the Warlord combo, because the thing is, the Warlord combo ends with Buff Van Dyke using Power Bomb, and assuming it's the same as other characters' Power Bomb in Joyful, it has a paralysis effect. Not a guaranteed paralysis or anything, that would be busted, but there's a chance of paralysis every time he uses Power Bomb, and if he gets us with that, we're basically toast. Thankfully, we can minimize our chances of him using it at all, because Second Wind will kick in and end the turn as soon as a buddy goes down. So, as long as we're using Second Wind to stay alive, it won't go any further than the first person hitting her, which is usually going to be Hawk. The vast majority of the time it will just be Hawk hitting her. So basically the pattern we'll want to settle into is we use Mr. Beautiful's pacifist thing to use the free turn to throw a firebomb, and use the turn after that to either fully heal if we don't have TP, or to Second Wind if we do. Because for every turn that Buddy is alive and getting hit, she gains TP, and for every 15 of that we gain, we can use another Second Wind, and if we use Second Wind enough, we can avoid Power Bomb in all of the cases except where we don't have it up in the first place. We're just gonna have to feel it out, I guess. One thing's for sure, we're gonna have to kill a lot more of these guys. And I'm gonna have to do a lot better than that if I don't want this to take all day. Although I guess it's not so much a concern for all day today, because, I mean, I streamed for 2 hours, basically one way or the other. But if we don't want this stream series to drag on forever, the more shadowy figures we can fit in, the better. So, I've just been kind of recovering from my vacation the last couple days. It was a fun vacation, but it was a bit wearying. Yeah, me and my mom went down to Hershey, and we had a good time. We didn't get to go to Hershey Park because they were closed during the week, but it's honestly just as well because, like, it was cold. It was pretty nippy the whole time, and I don't think the rides would have been too fun with, like, icy autumn wind blowing in our faces the whole way. yeah, we still have to do a bunch of other stuff. Like the first day, we went down to the zoo, the North American Zoo. We got to see all kinds of animals. It's actually pretty cool because, like, a lot of time you go to the zoo and it's like, oh, the animals are just kind of laying around. But I mean, even that was still the case for a bunch of things there. But a lot of them were also up and about, and that was cool to see. And we got to see most of the exhibits. Like, there were only a couple that we couldn't actually spot if we looked hard enough. And also only a couple that were absent from their habitats for one reason or another. So we really got our time's worth there. It was fun to see all the animals and stuff. I'm gonna stab this guy, then I'm going to worry about healing because body's getting a little beat up. Anyway, after that, and after we'd eaten, we basically did like one event per period of the day. Like the first day we were driving down there, and then it was the zoo in the afternoon. In the evening that day, well, what was it the evening that night? Oh yeah, we drove to Gettysburg, because it was kind of within range. Just under an hour's drive. Bit of a pain, really, but we went on like a ghost tour there, woo-woo, because they've got like a storied, bloody history with the battle that happened there. It was actually kind of astonishing. Wasn't too swayed by the mysticism side of it, because I don't know. It's just too easy to make up all that stuff, you know? Like, some of the details, they just sounded really fabricated or whatever. But, like, I imagine that the historical side of it still had some merit, and that was kind of interesting, because, like, wow, I didn't realize just how big that battle was. Apparently, like, 50,000 people died in that thing over the course of 3 days. And also surprising was that there was only one civilian casualty out of all of them. So how about that? Like, wow. Bit of a mess, all that. Long in the past at this point. But that was day one. And then day two, in the morning, we went to Hershey Gardens. Walked around, looked at what plants were available at borderline wintertime. And we got to visit the butterfly atrium, which was very cool. The butterflies don't have to worry about what season it is because it's their ideal climate in the atrium year-round. Then, I was on the afternoon of that day was when I went to the museum, because, see, they offer this, like, event combo pass thingy, where you can get a pass for the gardens and the museum at either location, just for walking up. And the Hershey Museum, we learned all about, like, chocolate making, and the history of the place, and how Milton got it all up and running and stuff. It was very fascinating. They even had this little machine where you could, like, make an assembly line to produce Hershey Kisses. And I got it right first try. And I didn't even use all the parts provided, so they should definitely hire me to build their factories or something. Let's see, and then in the evening of that day, we went to a Dave Sedaris comedy show at the Hershey Theater. I'd never heard of Dave Sedaris before this, I didn't know anything about him. But apparently he's a right-leaning gay dude. And a relatively older fella at that. So it was kind of surprising to hear a person his age talking about the kind of subject matter he addressed. I don't know how he's evaded being cancelled by the wokesters, but I was fine with all that. Quite an enjoyable show. And a very nice theater, too. Pretty architecture, all kinds of fun stuff. And then, let's see, on the third day, in the morning, we went to the Crossroads Antique Mall, which is basically just a store with lots of really good stuff. They actually have, like, a whole bunch of compartments that they can rent out to other stores, which is kind of interesting, because instead of being, like, one antique shop, it's like a conglomeration of antique shops. Found that kind of interesting. There was all kinds of neat stuff to look at in there. Some of it didn't seem to me to qualify as antique, but then again, I'm, like, pushing middle-aged here. So maybe things that are normal or normal-ish to me are actually just antiquated by modern standards. It was surprising how many things in there I recognized. But I guess that says more about me than it does about anything else. There were even some Pokemon cards, but I didn't bother with those, because my god have I gotten me full of Pokemon cards as of late. And that's basically what's kept me busy since I got back from the trip. Oh, but I guess I should finish talking about the trip before I transition to talking about Pokemon cards for the nth time this series. Goodness. On the afternoon of the third day, that's when we did an escape room. We went to Escape Room Hershey. I'd never done one before, and I kind of overthought things at the start. And if I hadn't, we might have actually been able to beat it, because we got pretty darn close. Like, we actually opened all but one of the locks, and we would have opened the last lock on the final chest, but my mom had made a slight miscalculation on the puzzle she was working on. She had, like, all but the last digit of the thing correct, which is a little sad, but I'm not sure we would have made it even if we had gotten that, because time was just too tight at that point. Like, yeah, it was the final chest, but it contained, like, the final 2 clues we needed to escape the room, basically. Once we had those, we still needed to figure out what they meant and locate a key somewhere, I guess. Is what that amounted to. So another 15 minutes, or 15 minutes better spent earlier, we might have actually got it. And just between the two of us, I feel like that's pretty good, because I'd seen online that that particular room only had a 50% success rate. Buddy, please sprint. Okay, there she goes. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed all of it. Like, and they even had like a little Halloween bonus, because they had put like some Halloween decorations in the room, and if you used them to solve a very rudimentary lock, you got some candy. So yay, we got our consolation candy at the very least. That one wasn't too tough. There were like 3 pumpkins with numbers on the back of them, and it was a 3-digit lock, so all you had to do was figure out which of the 6 possible combinations of those numbers was correct. Not too terribly difficult. It was cool. They even had like a little Pokemon puzzle in there. It was pretty cool. It's like they had these Pokemon stamped into a thing with light bright color bulbs, and some of the bulbs were off in color, and that told you what the number was. But it wasn't as simple as that, because the lock was color-coded, and you also had to pair the numbers with the correct color of the thing they were attached to. I just thought it was cool to see Pokemon referenced in there, because it was like a 90s themed escape room. And I was like, yeah, I guess Pokemon was kind of the 90s, wasn't it? At least it first came out in the 90s, at least. And then, for the final thing of the third day, we drove back, because it was a long drive. Got home pretty late. It was just late enough that I was able to, like, get the mail and get all the Pokemon card packages out of the parcel box. Because goodness, there would have been a lot less of them if the mailman had left me the key like he was supposed to. It's like, I probably complained about this last time, but I had like 4 things delivered on Saturday, and the dang mailman just didn't leave me the parcel locker key. And Monday was Columbus Day, so they didn't deliver it then either. So I couldn't even, like, get it taken care of any time before the vacation, because the vacation started Tuesday, well before the mailman would have even arrived, so... So, Thursday night, I got to get all that stuff out of there and check everything and get it all accounted for. That wasn't really feasible, because I just didn't have enough time. I was able to check the stuff, but not, or maybe sort it a little bit, but not much beyond that. Then Friday morning, I had to record Tastes Like Spelunky before work, so I did that. And then Friday after work, it was, well, no, Friday at work, I was just busy with catching up with the week's business. And rest assured there was plenty of that. I just completely filled my shift with it. Then I went home and sorted Pokemon cards. And then I continued sorting Pokemon cards this morning. And I was still sorting Pokemon cards before the stream. It would have actually been done by now, but the thing was, I hadn't updated my Pokévector account with the new cards. Not for this batch, or for a bunch of previous batches, because I just got lazy with it. So, I'm currently going through those previous batches to make sure the account accurately represents what is currently in or not in my collection. a bit much. But it's getting there. It won't take too much longer. And then I can get back to, like, regular life. Oh, what a joy. I actually don't have any more, like, loose cards coming in the mail. There was one last order that was delivered today. And, there are two other orders that haven't entered the mail yet, as far as I'm aware. One of them was, like, my big story from last time about that $900 deal I did, and the guy's just dragging his feet at this point. I'm gonna try and get in touch with them on their Whatnot account and be like, hey, did you get my text? Why are you waiting? And the other person might just be a scam. I think it was in my Taste Like Spelunk, or my previous Taste Like Spelunky session. Not the one I just recorded, but the previous one. Where I mentioned that I won a Chilling Reign to be off of a green person on eBay. And I still don't know what to make of it, because, like, they had this whole display for their auction, and I Google image searched it to make sure it was unique to that, and it was, but it's been a long time since I won the thing, and I haven't heard back from them, and as it currently stands, they have -1 feedback, because another person who is less patient than me also won an ETB, never heard back from them, and assumed it was a scam, and left feedback as such. So I told them, alright guy, look, you've already got one piece of negative feedback for failing to ship, and if you don't want it to be two, you should probably respond to me quickly. And if they don't get back to me after or before the weekend's out, I think I'm probably going to follow the same route as that guy. Because I'm gonna put up with that. How are people supposed to trust the seller if this is their track record already? It's not like it's my problem. Someone else has already had the same experience as me, I'm just a little more patient. But yeah, I think those are the only two orders I still have left to worry about as of today, so... It's kind of a relief knowing that, like, all the cards I'm likely to get are already here. And if I buy more, I think I'm going to try to stick to sealed products, because man, am I done with dealing with loose cards. They're just too much hassle, even if I can get them for, like, a generally lower price. But then again, it's not as if I've had a good track record with being able to control myself in these things. I'm just tired of them eating up my time, really. I have so much art to do, and game design, and other hobbies. Too many things to worry about. I'm worried I won't even have enough time to catch up with the rest of the year. But then again, I might be underestimating just how much time I really have on my hands. It just bothers me. Gosh, I wish I had more to report on, because, like, there's just not a whole lot to talk about while I'm slaying all these shadowy figures. We basically got our plan. We know how we want it to go. It's just a matter of getting strong enough and pulling it off, which I'm reasonably confident we can. Even with the various things that can go wrong. As soon as we're able to survive the Warlord combo, we'll have a decent shot. Oh hey, it's Nightmare Ninja Zero. Hello, guy! Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. How you doing? I'll await your response, because I know there's like 30 seconds of delay. I don't have the hardware for that, like, ultra-low latency. We have an update. We are releasing a new mod. Nice! Just tell me what it is on Reddit or Discord, and I'll put it in my queue. And you can wait a good long while Club Meetings is running its course. It's been kind of nice to get back to Club Meetings after so long. They were seriously hinting at the end of Season 2 that Yuri and Natsuki were going to get together. And they're still only just hinting at that, so I don't know if that's just going to be the season's drama point or whatever, but they're just dancing around the thing, and eh. I'm ambivalent. On the one hand, it's like, they're allowed to do whatever they want with their story. But on the other hand, it is supposed to be like a direct continuation of the DLC, and you would hope that the characters would be as accurate as possible in that circumstance. And you know, considering that the most the Club Meetings has been guilty of so far is like fanning foul-mouthed Natsuki, and even with that, it's kind of been downplayed in Season 3. It just feels weird to have them be like, well, you know what, maybe Yuri and Natsuki really are gay for each other. I guess I wouldn't mind it so much, but it definitely feels like, oh, let's ship the last two characters together so they have somebody. Because MC and Sayori have each other, and Monika's still in love with the player. And, well, that just leaves those two, and I mean, like, yeah, sure they have OCs in there sometimes, but shipping them with OCs is kind of cringe too, really. And I know some of their, like, regulars are particularly woke, so wouldn't be surprised if they just end up committing to it in the end. It's like, whatever. You do you, Club Meetings. I'll put up with it. All that said, Club Meetings Season 3 has been off to kind of a slow start. We're already, like, I want to say 4 of their episodes in, and the only thing that's really happening is, like, Miss Ida is getting overstressed. Well, no, that's not true. Miss Ida's personal life is coming up as a plot point, but they've also got the potential of rejoining the club as a thing happening as well. I guess we'll see what happens with that. And they already brought up about, like, disabling the time loop. It kind of makes me wonder how long Club Meetings intends to run for, because I know they're doing Season 4 at the very least. No idea what the progress for that is like as it currently stands. But they can't very well do, like, Doki's aging out and stuff. I guess I'll have to see what happens with the time loop plot point. I'm just waiting for my question to Monika to come up, because I told her to read Those Who Walk Away from Omelas whenever it turned out she was a utilitarian. And I'm very curious to see if/how they answered that question, because I've had like a mini rant reserved for it ever since. I'm not one to hold on to grudges, and I wouldn't really describe this as a grudge necessarily, but man, utilitarianism is a kind of narrow worldview, so there are some fun things I can say about that. When the time comes, when the time comes. Gosh, it might never have come if I had left them to their own devices. Club Meetings, it's probably just the same as last time with Season 2. The reason they said they didn't ask for Season 2 is because they didn't want to be a burden, or something like that. And they never requested Season 3 either, and I was like, you know, you don't have to worry about being a burden, I don't mind, it's fine, please just ask, and then, well, they never did. They also stopped recommending mine and Afro Zero's mods in their comments, so I don't know what's up with that. I have no idea how they may or may not feel about me anymore at this point, but it kinda doesn't matter. It kinda doesn't matter at all. What else is going on in Let's Play Land? Well, it looks like we're coming up to the end of Taste Like Spelunky. One more session ought to do it. All we have to do at this point is the City of Gold run, because that's different in Tastes Like as well, for reasons one might not realize initially. But if that takes me 2 hours, then God help me, because it's basically on me at that point. Even when you're having bad luck in Spelunky in general, you should be able to pull off a City of Gold run within 2 hours. It's not that difficult to do. But yeah, once that series is done, well, I guess we'll be doing a little bit of Editor Plus before the next thing starts. So, about 2 more weeks of Spelunky, I guess, and then we're moving on to yet another thing. I don't even know what the next thing is. The title of it's just Trapped, I think? And I'm just gonna have to search RMN's database and be like, what is this? I would check to see who requested it, but I have not been able to load RMN for like a month at this point. Every time I pull it up, it's like, the site's down, here's our archives and our Discord, good luck. And they're like, thanks RMN. I thought the whole reason we did a server transfer was so that the site would be up and like at least somewhat functional. Apparently only certain people have any luck with it at all, really. Oh well. I'm sure it'll be back in better form someday. I just miss it. I miss you, RMN. Why did this have to happen? Why did our previous server company have to go out of business? Oh yeah, and we're playing Bowser's Dark Plan as the other thing on the channel right now. I don't know how much further we can get with it, really. We're at the point where we're already fixing, like, errors on the map to see. And I don't mind that so much. Like, heck, the whole reason I put up with the previous version for as long as I did was because I was kind of enjoying trying to fix it. But yeah, I don't know how much further we can get with that, really. Even with map corrections, it looks like it's already falling apart at the seams. The developer has quite a lot of work to do to get that where it needs to be. But as far as SMBX Let's Plays go, I'm really not worried about anything else. I should probably start weaving the RMN series into the requests, like I do with the other things. I was kind of waiting for me to get through the Spelunky mods before I do that, because, like, that just kind of follows the progression of my game design career, basically. It started with RPG Maker, and that's when we played the Pokemon Hunter games. Then it moved on to Spelunky, and we're doing the Spelunky mods now. There's still a couple others, but they aren't nearly as involved as Tastes Like, so I don't know how long those might take or how in-depth I want to go with them. But anyway, then it was the SMBX stuff. But since SMBX has its own line on the channel now, there's kind of no reason to hold back. That's basically how I feel. So we'll just have to see. We will see. All the games will be played, unless the country gets burned down or something. Very well could, by either side at this point. Isn't political division great? Wait, no, it's terrible. I wish they would turn down the heat, for God's sake. Everyone's so freaking tribalistic these days. Like, calm down. Just because a person doesn't believe the same things as you doesn't mean they're neo-Nazis or something. Who knows? Maybe the country burning down will cause me to play more games because I'll be like marooned in my house with nothing else to do but record. That's kind of assuming the electricity and internet hold up. I can only imagine certain reasons why they would ever go down in the first place, but, you know, we'll just have to see what happens. Definitely gonna be stocked up on, like, at least a couple months worth of food and non-perishable liquids. I've actually already got the non-perishable liquids pretty well covered. I've got like an entire cupboard under my sink full of Gatorade. I used to drink one Gatorade per week because I would drink it while working out. But since I started getting too thin from having reduced my fat intake, I just didn't see the need to work out anymore because that was the whole reason I was in the first place. I was like losing belt loops. And then that trend reversed, and I was like, well, okay, maybe I'm alright? But I would like to get back to that. I do miss working out. I enjoyed it. I have not nailed a good hit on this guy. There we go. But anyway, yeah, I've got plenty of Gatorade to drink, and while it does have an expiration date, I looked up online, and they said it's a shelf-stable liquid, and that when it expires, it still retains its efficacy. It just the color might change a little bit, and the taste might be slightly off. And it's like, oh boo-hoo, oh, what will I do if my Gatorade is slightly off color and slightly off taste? It'll be fine is basically it, but I also want to buy, like, some just regular water. Leaning toward gallons of distilled water, particularly because they're compatible with a humidifier I use during recordings for DDLC in the winter. Because the dry air, combined with trying to do all those girl voices on such a frequent basis, it's just hell on my throat. So, yeah, I have a teensy-weensy humidifier that I start up whenever it's DDLC time and the air is dry. And it needs distilled water. But, you know, there's no reason you can't drink distilled water, too. So I was like, if I buy a whole bunch of gallons of distilled water, I'll have plenty of liquid safe to drink, and I can still use it for something else even if the world doesn't come to an end. What else is happening? We talked about the Let's Plays. Not a whole lot happening on the creative front. It's just been nothing but, like, cards and vacation plans for the past week. It stinks. I spent most of my Sunday planning out the trip, because I wanted to make sure there was, like, enough time and that things were scheduled and whatnot. Like, I had to reserve the escape room and the theater, and also, what was the third reservation? Oh yeah, the ghost tour. All three of those had to be reserved in advance, so I'm glad I got those taken care of on Sunday. But I also had to, like, plan around drive times and the distance of things relative to each other. It was just so much. Just getting it all coordinated. It was the first time really planning a vacation, too, because usually I'm the follower in all these things. Like, other people have things going on. I'll be like, hey, Eli, you want to tag along? And I'm like, yeah! If it's your plan, I'll be happy to be the third, fourth, fifth wheel, whatever you need. Just happy to be here, really. But yeah, doing it on my own. It was kind of harrowing. But we got through it without a hitch, basically. We didn't mess up any of our plans. The closest we came was, like, with the ghost tour. Because since I'd been driving for so long earlier in the day, my mom offered to do the driving for that, but well, my mom's kind of up in years, and she's a very safe driver, which means she's a very slow driver. So we got there with barely enough time to eat before the thing, and we were, like, trying to find the meetup point with 10 minutes before we were supposed to start. And then they asked you to be there, like, 15 minutes in advance just in case. But we found it, thank goodness. We found it not only in time, but, like, our tour guide was actually slightly late. So we had more time than it seemed like we did. But, you know, I didn't know that when I was panicking. It was supposed to start at 6:30, it was 6:20, and we didn't even know where we were supposed to be. But it all worked out. And everything else was perfectly fine. Totally and utterly fine. It was nice to see it pull off without a hitch. It really was. Buddy, sprint! Sprint, buddy! Sprint! Okay. Phew. So yeah, that was like my Sunday, just getting all that figured out. And all the rest of the time has just been dealing with all these dang Pokemon cards. I'm kind of glad to be on basically the end of it. If I buy any more cards, it's hard to say, because I needed to see what was in my collection, and that's still the case. Because there's still more cards I need to add to my Pokélector tonight, and hopefully not tomorrow. I think I can get it done before the end of the day. But once I've got a clearer picture there, that's going to inform whether or how much I continue to buy. Because I found this one seller who has pretty decent prices for some really old cards, and that's all I really need at this point. I have more than enough packs and packages from Gen 9 and 8 to cover those ones. 7 and older was what had me concerned, and I have a pretty good handle on 7, and there's a decent chunk of 6 cards I have. My main concern was 5 and 4, but I got a whole pile of those from said seller today and yesterday. So I need to get like a bird's eye view of what that looks like, and then decide if I want to buy more. I'm kind of averse to it, but loose cards are a little easier to process the further back in time they are, because that's how I'm handling their processing in. Because, like, I'm doing the cards that are tournament legal currently, which basically means I'm starting with Brilliant Stars and working forward. Still currently using Brilliant Stars, because I just got so many of them from a card lot one time. But once all those are done, I get to go back to Fusion Strike and work backwards from there. Which basically means that the Gen 6, 5, 4 cards are way, way, way back in the queue, and since they're at the end of the queue as opposed to like the front of it, it's easier to insert stuff into them. If that makes sense. Like, I've got boxes I put these things into, and I like don't have all the storage space in the world, so I kind of try to cram the boxes as full as they'll get. But that also makes them hard to add things to, because they become inflexible. And that's all just a whole big pain all on its own. But yeah. Might get more old cards. I'll just have to see if I think it's worth it or not. Lord knows I've spent enough money already. I am thoroughly exhausting the shotgun method of Pokemon card purchasing. But I really enjoy it, what can I say? And the extras can always be sold, even if they're raggedy and crappy. Just set the price low enough, and somebody's gonna buy it, probably. Gotta see how it all pans out. Gotta see what other things I can get. Since I stepped away from everything for the vacation anyway, I haven't been concentrating on eBay like I used to. And nor do I intend to maintain that level of vigilance like I used to either. I'm still keeping an eye out for like the trainer kits I'm missing, because those are just so hard to come by. Goodness. I saw someone today who was, or was it yesterday? It was probably yesterday. They had an auction for the Noivern and Sylveon kit, and they said they said it was complete. It had all the cards, but that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted the whole kit, not all the cards. And they asked them, hey, do you have like the box and the coin and the guides? And they're like, nope, sorry, just the cards and the boxes they go in. And I was like, oh, so close and yet so far. I might still buy it anyway, just to have all the cards, because, like, you know, the cards are kind of the important part as far as I'm concerned, but that's also kind of a self-defeating purchase, because that's assuming I can't find the guts someplace else, or that I can't find the complete kit, which I'm fairly confident I can. Somebody's got to have one out there somewhere. And all it takes is for them to decide to sell it on TCG Player or eBay, and I'm buying it, basically. Constant vigilance is required. That's all it takes. Like heck, I even saw another XY trainer kit, one that I didn't need, unfortunately, come up on TCG Player one day, and I was like, oh, hey, look at that. It just happens to not be out of stock today. And then, like, the next time I checked 12 hours later, it was out of stock again, because it... Other people are watching for things too, I suppose. But yeah, it only takes a second to check for those things. It's like browsing all the booster pack sales and stuff that I shouldn't be doing anymore. Especially since my Gen 8 and 9 collections are at a point where it's just too unlikely or not worthwhile to try and earn these things. So, yeah, spending less time on eBay is going to equate to spending less time sorting through Pokemon cards, which means more time for things that actually matter to me. Although I guess I could say the Pokemon cards also matter to me. But other tasks are more important, like game design and drawing art and stuff. Those things are more important to me. That's why I'm prioritizing them over certain other things. Like, I've shelved a lot of my gaming for the moment. The only gaming I'm really doing is what's necessary for YouTube at this point. which is fine, because those things can be fun to catch up on whenever the time comes. But I definitely want to keep up with my creative hobbies. So they need to rebound before anything else. I also need to get back into writing critiques and reviews. I think I mentioned last time that I was going to try to start doing those at the start of my day instead of the end, so I'm not exhausted and my brain isn't fried by the time I would be writing. I would have done that yesterday, but I just had way too much to catch up on after the vacation and all that. I was like, you know what, we're going to give this one more weekend and then we're going to start writing one review per day until they are all done. So if I don't have a review posted on Monday, you should, I don't know, tell me I'm a twat. It's just a little tough because the next review I have to write is for a comic called Less Bittersweet, which is a DDLC themed comic, and you'd think that would make it even easier for me to write about. But some of the author's choices, especially toward the end of the current archive, have given me mixed feelings. It's the kind of thing where, like, if you're all in with it, it comes across as, like, sweet and endearing, and if you're not all in with it, you can just step back and, like, take a look at it objectively, it's kinda cringe. And I'm trying to figure out how to communicate that in a polite way, basically. Because I can't just lie to him. That's not the kind of reviewer I am. I'm honest, and sometimes brutally honest, but I don't want to be rude either. Not where it's unnecessary. But yeah, the comic, because it's a DDLC comic, it starts like right at the end of the good ending of Act 4, and proceeds from there in a comic format. But it pretends it's a game for a little while longer, and gradually transitions to, well, no, it actually is just being written by some guy at this point. And to me, that crosses like the forbidden line of meta, where it's like, well, you've basically just admitted that this is pure fiction, and relatively self-indulgent fiction at that. And nothing that's happening has any meaning or context or whatever, and it's like... That's why I think DDLC succeeded best as a video game. It doesn't really work in any other medium. Like, it's not as if meta literature wasn't a thing before, like, the Neverending Story pulled crap like that, but I don't think it really worked there either, to be honest. Then again, my first exposure to the Neverending Story was as the movie The Neverending Story, not necessarily the book itself, so I don't know how exactly the book handles its meta-ness, but I've heard things, and it just doesn't have the same thing. It's like, video games, they kind of create an alternate reality within the computer, and that's a little easier to buy than, oh hey, the words on the page are alive, or just a portal to what's actually happening somewhere else, or whatever. And it's like, that just strays a little too far into magical thinking for my tastes. Like, at least games can kind of feel real, in a sense. But whatever. It's whatever. Just gotta figure out what I want to say and say it. There are also other tasks that aren't super important for things that I try to keep up with anyway because they're annoying to catch up on, and my music stuff is one such thing. Like adding battle tracks to Troubadour that we have playing right now. That's something I try to keep up with on a regular basis since I add them from the Let's Plays we're doing. And they get difficult to keep track of sometimes. Like, we've had a bit of a break because, well, DDLC almost never has battle themes. And Tastes Like Spelunky, as well as regular Spelunky, they only have like one battle theme apiece. No concerns there. But keeping up with them in SMBX can be a bit of a pain. It can be hard to remember which episodes had fights in them. it might seem like an easier thing to do than it is, but I really do have to go through, like, every episode I've recorded and be like, was there a fight here? Was there a fight here? Can I find that song? Do I recognize it? What's it called? The whole rigmarole. Try to decide if things qualify as fights. Thank God. Currently, there is a battle track in here from The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, but it's just the forest theme, the basic forest theme, and the only reason it's in here is because Super Fortnite Bros 2, Electric Philosopheroo, decided to use it for a kill room in one of their castles. And I was like, ordinarily, I would not consider this a fight theme. It would be just like the theme of the room or whatever. But for me, some of the qualifications of what constitutes a fight is like what the circumstances. The context is very important. And in this particular context, it was one room. This song was only used in this room. And the only thing to do in this room is kill a bunch of birdos, and you have to kill the birdos to advance. So it is, like, definitionally a fight. And I can't even be like, no, it's the theme of the stage, because it's, like, it's only this one room where the only purpose is to kill things. So, yes, it's a fight theme, despite being not at all a fight theme. And I guess that's the kind of thing you can expect to happen in troll games like Super Fortnite Bros. But, still, it's whatever. Gotta add it as a fight theme. I think I already did add it to the current version of Troubadour, but I don't know how far behind I am on other things. Fortunately, I have a handy-dandy hobby time tracker on my computer that I use to keep track of how much I need to do in each area, and that can tell me how far or not far behind I am on music. We'll just have to say... well, I'll just have to see. It's of no concern to you, viewer. No concern at all. So yeah, as it currently stands, my schedule is like pared down to the essentials, and as soon as I'm done with all this Pokemon card crap, I can like heave a sigh of relief. Looking forward to it. Tonight should be the last of it. And I'm still gonna be processing the cards from like now till Kingdom Come because I'm only adding them to my collection 10 cards per day, which is fun. I enjoy that aspect. Just, it's so much. It's so many packs, dude. It's a ridiculous number of cards. Frankly absurd. But it's not like I haven't been making progress on the collection either. Like, as I've been filling out my Pokélector, I've been keeping an eye on it. And before I started with collecting the new sets and all that, I had about 4,000 cards and needed like 13,000 something or other. It was kind of insane just how many cards behind I was. But now, even just registering the things I know I have, not including the stuff that's in packs and whatnot, packs I haven't opened, I'm back up to like 8,500 or so, and I only need 9,500 cards or so, thereabouts. Which is still a ton. Like, that's a whole lot of cards to be behind on, but it's just been nice to punch big holes in the sets where I didn't have a lot of things. And it helps narrow down the search for whenever I do get back to the sniper method, picking off individual cards. It's been quite an experience. I really need to dial it back. For everyone's sake. For my sake, for my hobby's sake, for everything else I do's sake. It will be very curious to see if I can rebound by the end of the year. I'm not sure I can. But I am kind of encouraged because, like, just because I haven't been productive in the areas I want to be doesn't mean I haven't been productive. So it's not like I'm struggling to do things, which is usually why I fall behind. It's nice to fall behind for a reason that isn't, just feeling too out of it to do things. Kind of an odd phenomenon, really. Whew. It will be nice to get back to other things eventually, too. Always got things moving forward in one way or another. Well, I guess that's not entirely true. Some things I do just for the enjoyment of doing them. And, yeah. I wouldn't exactly call those productive. They're well, I don't know, they're kind of productive in a different sense. The main things I'm talking about are like playing Smash Bros. Online and battling Pokemon online. Because, well, I enjoy Smash Bros. And it is a lot of fun. But I also kind of do it to, like, keep myself sharp, in a sense. Because you really gotta be on point to play well in Smash Brothers, and keeping up with all these whipper-snappers and all their new fancy moves and stuff just ain't easy, especially when I prefer to play the entire roster instead of just sticking with one or two dudes. My goodness, last time I was playing as Ryu, and man, Ryu is just not my guy. I'm not good at Ryu. I can kind of remember how to do, like, the Street Fighter inputs for some of his special moves, but I typically don't remember how in the moment. And one of the things that really drives me nuts about him is that you can activate some of his Street Fighter combos with the A button if you do the control stick motions the way that they normally would. And the reason that's a problem for me is because every time I try to throw a back air with Ryu, he ends up doing his, like, whirlwind kick in the opposite direction, which usually sends me flying off the cliff. And it's not unrecoverable because it's pretty easy to get back from that scenario, usually, but man is it annoying, because I'm trying to plant an attack, and I end up attacking in the opposite direction, putting myself at a disadvantage. It's just really, really bad. Like, if they're going to let that be a thing, at least just restrict it to the B button, for God's sake. Anyway, that's my problem with Ryu. But the other problem is I'm just not very good at him. He's a really complicated character, too, because, like, what kind of attack he does depends entirely on how long you hold the A button. Half A presses are real with him. And he just has so many moves I'm not very good at keeping track of them. And it only gets worse with, like, the other fighting game characters they added, like Kazuya. God, Kazuya has to be, like, the most glaring example. But, like, who's that guy from Fatal Fury they added? I forgot his name. Criminy. Buster Wolfman. Yeah, that's him. He also has, like, all those fighting game combo nonsense things going on to him. I'm just like, whatever, man. I just want to press the buttons and have things happen. Don't know that I'll ever properly learn to play those characters. But I can kind of hold my own. Kind of, sort of. One thing I really appreciate about Smash Brothers is that sometimes success kind of depends more on how clever you are with your attacks than just outright going and getting them. So how you fight is a lot more important than who you fight as, to a degree. Like, yeah, there are always going to be some characters that have more advantages than others, but you don't necessarily need to worry all the time. You can swing something with most of them if you're careful. And gosh, like, the character I have the most practice with is Ganondorf, because I used him to clear the Spirit List many, many times. Since he's just such a brutalizer, he can just pummel enemies until they're gone. He's great for destroying computers. And I saw, a while back, I want to say it was... It might not have been Mewtwo King. I think it was Mewtwo King. Some relatively prominent Smash pundit had done a tier list, and he said the only character he considered actually bad was Ganondorf. And I was like, okay, well, good. I have the most practice with the worst character, so that means it's all the rest of the time. Maybe their other redeeming qualities can help me float me by. But yeah, playing Smash, while technically not a productive thing, it is like sort of a personal improvement thing. It's like working out my brain, is how I feel about that. And it's kind of the same thing with Pokemon battling, just in a completely different way. Pokemon battling is more of a strategic brain thingy, where Smash Brothers is more reflexive. They work my brain in different ways, and I enjoy them both. Although they can be stressful. So yeah, those are like a couple of the things I do that I can't truly make progress on. It's just a continuum of combat. Much like we're in right now. I'm a mid. There. So our max health is like 2600 currently. I hope we don't need to go like all the way to 3000 or something to get this done. So we seem to gain like, we have a long way to go to keep up with the damage the Warlord combo can do. Uh-oh, OBS says I'm dropping frames. Oh, apparently I'm dropping a lot of frames. You okay there? See it spinning. Hey! Hey! Stream! You alright? It says excellent connection on YouTube. Okay, there it goes. OBS, we fine. Yeah, we're back to green. We're good. I don't know if you heard anything I was just saying. Dropping frames like crazy. Anyway. Yeah. Continuing with combat. Battling. And now I guess I can add Pokemon trading card game to that list too. Those are things I do that you can't really make progress on, but they're fun. And then there are things I can technically make progress on, but not really kind of experience them so thoroughly. This is like the realm of playing Phantasy Star Online still, and continuing Aiden Challenge runs off stream. Because, like, I've beaten both of those games to death at this point, and I still play PSO because I like collecting the rare items, and there are so many of them. And there are, even as long as I've been playing, there are still a lot of them that have eluded me, and will probably continue to. Because some of them just have astronomically low odds that you're just never going to see them. But I don't just collect the rare items, I also use them and distribute them across a bunch of different characters. So there are a lot of ways to play PSO. I've just really exhausted the possibilities on that front in a lot of ways. Oop, wrong fence. My controller had momentarily crapped out. Go, bunny. Go, bunny. There she goes. But yeah, I've recently started trying to clear out, like, the lower difficulties of items. Because, like, I have a tracker for all of the section IDs in Phantasy Star Online. Because, like, I guess I can explain for people who are unfamiliar, which is probably everybody at this point. But, like, Phantasy Star Online, it was one of the first multiplayer online experiences that was created. And you can have a maximum party of 4 people, but you, like, go into areas and fight monsters together, and there are different classes. You can, like a hunter, a ranger, or a force, which basically means you fight melee, you fight at a distance, or you fight with magic. And whenever you first make your character, depending on what you name them, they're granted a section ID, one of 10. They're sorted by color, and the color of your section ID determines what rare items you find. So I have characters spread across all the section IDs, so I have every rare item available to me. I just gotta play as the right person in the right place to try and get what I want. And every enemy can drop a rare item, with very few exceptions. The items they drop vary by difficulty, too. There's, like, normal mode, hard mode, very hard mode, and ultimate mode. And all the best stuff is in ultimate mode, obviously, but you can still get some decent rare items in hard and very hard. So, and I already had most of them, so I've been trying to get the last of them, just to have those 2 modes cleaned up once and for all, knowing I'm not missing anything else from them. And I finished doing hard mode the other day. All I needed was, like, an extra copy of 1 armor from there, and I got it! Working on the very hard stuff next, but I haven't really sat down to play PSO since then, so, yeah. That's going nowhere. There's also a rare item in normal mode, at least one that I'm aware of. It's pretty uncommon for rare items to be in normal mode, and especially for rare items to be relegated to normal modes only. But there's one in particular I'm aware of, and I don't know how long it might take to get, but it could be kind of tough. Because it's dropped by this one monster that appears relatively deep into the final area of the game. But it's also normal mode, so you can just go in with, like, a character who can find the thing, obviously. But if you can cast magic with them, you can just wipe out all the monsters in one hit. And it's just like, eventually the volume will outpace the odds. Hopefully. I just don't know if I'm up to it. It's a piece of armor, and it's not a particularly good one, but it is apparently a kind of a cute one. Because, like, it's a shield you wear on your arm that's a little heart-shaped. And that's unusual for armors in that game, because usually they aren't visible on your person. Only certain ones will appear. That happens to be one. And I don't know how many other rare items it might be in normal mode like that, but I don't know, it might be worth looking into. What I'm trying to say is, farming normal mode is easy. The length of time it would take still might be too annoying that I wouldn't bother. We'll just have to see. How determined am I to have every rare item in PSO? Not especially, to be honest. I'm just kind of just enjoying it along the way. Oh hey, it's the final battle theme from this game. We haven't gotten there yet because we haven't finished this game. This is the longest Let's Play of Lisa the Joyful anyone has ever done. We're breaking all kinds of records here. We get to hear Bernard chew on himself like 3 times before this is over. I need to mend. Okay. I wonder how the final battles are going to go with us being, like, way stronger than we normally would be. I don't know how many levels we're going to need in order to beat the Warlords, but it's gotta be substantial enough to make a difference. Because, like, the final battle of this is kind of intended to be paced with this song, so that how it develops goes along with the music. And it's actually pretty, or it does that pretty well as far as I can tell. You're unlikely to get through Bernard's entire health bar before the end of the track. But we might get through it faster with all this growing we're doing. Which, by the way, we're almost to the next level. Oh boy. Warlord attempt incoming. God, I wonder if I am better off just using Joker strikes on dice. Because, like, if it hits even 4 times, it's going to do more damage than these slashes we're currently doing, but Behead is also a stronger attack. I guess I could just get good. Like, leaving it up to chances for suckers and losers. I don't know. I don't even think this next level is going to be enough to put us over the limit, really. But we'll have to see. Because, like, it would be pretty easy to math it out as far as HP goes. Just, like, look at how much damage the Warlords do with their combo, tallied up, and be like, well, you need this much to survive. But that doesn't account for defense, really. And, like, yeah, defense grows really slowly in this game. But it's gotta matter for something, and it also kind of depends on, you know, well, does Bink Lincoln get your defense down? Because if he can stop him from causing you to be wary or weird, that's a significant increase in your defense. This is another part of the reason why I kind of want to try to put the Warlords to sleep before I start hitting dice, because if I can keep Lincoln off my back, I might be able to preserve my defense. And if we can get him to the Warlord combo before he weirds us out, or causes us to be wary, then we'll be in better shape to survive it, because he won't do those moves anymore. At least, I don't think his moves can still apply those statuses. after the Warlord combo has begun. So we can kind of use the game's design against it in that sense. Like, yeah, the Warlords are hitting you with the best they've got, and they're designed to, like, shut down the battle as quickly as possible. But those factors are not unmitigable. Is that even a word? Unable to be mitigated? That's what I'm trying to say. We can deal with those things, and it might prevent other things. I don't know. We'll just see, man. We'll just have to see. So much shadowy figure murder. I wonder how many we'll kill today. I was kind of surprised to see we killed fewer last time, but we also fought the Warlords like 3 times, and that ate up a bunch of time. Trying to think what else I can talk about. Not much else to really say. Art hasn't gone anywhere because I haven't been working on it. Still got a bunch of thumbnails I need to do. Kind of more worried about the reviews than the thumbnails right now, but we'll get there. I feel so bad that I haven't been able to write a comic in literal months at this point. Aileron needs to catch his boar for dinner. And then they need to, like, give up for the day because they spent too much time running around. I have, like, this whole elaborate plan for how the party gets to Aramon in the comic. And they have many more tribulations ahead of them. I titled the chapter The Long Road to Aramon for a reason. It's just already way longer than I ever hoped it would be. And it's really discouraging, too, because, like, Aiden is a very long game, and if I'm going to cover it this way, it's like, how long is it going to take me to get it all done? I'm hoping that this, switch to, like, using shapes for speech bubbles helps to do the trick, because making speech bubbles look nice has eaten up a lot of my time, especially on comics, where oftentimes most of the artwork is just speech bubbles. And I have plenty of options for shapes to use of those in Photoshop. I just need to, like, implement them more, instead of stubbornly insisting. We'll get there eventually, as long as I don't die, I guess. If I'm alive and the world isn't over, all my things will come to fruition. Hopefully sooner than later. Oh, we're so close. Next guy ought to do it, probably. Game design has been going exactly nowhere. Last thing I did was working on Tastes Like Spelunky. Still got a bit more, battle group stuff to do in Pokemon 101. Looking forward to that being done. Level up! Yeah, we gained a little less than 100 health, looks like. Our defense went up by 1. Alright. Alright. Let's go fight the Warlords. I'm gonna camp and drop a save, and then we'll go. Because if we can avoid being worried by Lincoln, that would be great. That would greatly improve our chances. And who knows, maybe we'll get a firebomb as a gift. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Nothing happened. Alright. Nothing's better than spiders, I guess. Save in file 6. And what's your status, buddy? 9,963 to next level. Woo-wee. coming for you guys. Let's go. Hour and 10 minutes into the stream, we're fighting the warlords again. For our college try. Considering it took us this long to level up, I don't expect we'll be getting a second fight in with them. We're just gonna try this strategy. I think we're gonna try to put him to sleep and see if we can't attack dice 4 turns in a row with Behead. So we need to get our TP up. Remain. Song kind of fits for this. Alright, now slow down there. We want to... Wolf stance first. Okay. I can't remember if sending me to hell is the move he uses in the Warlord combo. I guess we'll find out very soon. But yeah, we got worried immediately, and that sucks. Okay, now let's pacify. And second wind. Put him to sleep. Jerks. Now, I should probably just heal. Get some HP back real quick. I need more TP to behead 3 times. I'm actually... I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, because, see, I think I can do more damage with that than I can with, Joker Strikes. Especially if I get it like that. Oh yeah. Major damage. 1, 2... Ah! And then if you botch it, it's just awful. There they go! Silence bomb. Second wind. Now... Yep, controller died. Hold on. Okay, so let's empty bottle. Let me just see. Okay, so I can safely pacify. And I won't bleed to death. This is when you would throw a firebomb. Then you heal and hope for the best. And then the Warlord combo kills you. Yeah, see, he doesn't do send you to hell on that one. Of course, it helps when people miss. Ooh. We are not down! Would you look at that? Alrighty. Well, let's go ahead and second win. Of course, a bunch of them missed, and that's the only reason we didn't die. We can second wind again. Empty bottle, how are we? Lots of unruly people still. Okay. Second wind. Still a few too many are unruly, I think. Yeah, you are. You are. Oh, only 2 of them. Interesting. Alright, well, fingers crossed. Oh, I'm not silenced. Oh, here he comes. So much damage. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit before we can survive that. The only way we will is if I get lucky. We don't want to leave it up to chance. That's exactly why we can be it. We can totally do it, eventually. Dang it. I wonder if Big Lincoln's instinct is to lead with sending you to hell. It might be worthwhile to try to put him asleep right away. Oh. Because preventing our defense from being dropped is just, like, so important. And for all we know, it might even make the difference in surviving that combo. Wary never wears off. That's the most annoying thing about it. This guy can't even hurt us whenever we're not wary. So that should tell you something. Whatever the case is, it does seem to use it with high frequency. There's only so much we can do to prevent it. Let's just keep it in mind as a factor. Oh, are we strong enough to kill him in one hit now? That wasn't really one hit, though. That was one hit and one botched hit. One perfect hit and one botched hit, rather. Go, go. Man, I just can't help but wonder what the better approach is, because it looked like that time I only got to attack them twice before the Warlord combo started, because there were 2 strikes, and then after the 3rd one, they were already doing the combo, which doesn't meet up with what I already knew about this, because, like, how do I say this? It seemed like they started it after I attacked 3 times last time. Not so much a damage-based thing. But I guess it's entirely possible it is damage-based. Because I don't really know, I haven't been paying attention to how much bleed damage that Dice Mahone takes is the thing. I should probably tabulate that between streams. Just watch how much damage I do to him, and let's try to count it up and see how long it takes them to start attacking. Because that one time, where we only attacked him once and the bleed damage was what did it, that one would be most indicative if it is based on a damage number itself. Because we want to get as close to that threshold as we possibly can, and then that's when we do the behead, so that he takes as much damage as possible over the limit for the Warlord combo, and then continues to bleed while we're putting up with the rest. Gotta figure out as close to how it works as possible. Because, like, my original assumption from last time was that it would depend on how many times the Warlords took damage. Like, it would check their HP at the start of the turn, and if it was lower at the end of the turn, like, a variable ticks up by 1 or something. Which would count all the damage from within the turn as part of the 3 strikes you're out total, basically. But in that case, it looked like it was counting the dot damage as a separate thing, because that would be 1, 2, 3 hits. There was the initial hit, the bleed damage in between, then the second hit, which would be why on the third turn they started the Warlord combo. Because they wouldn't start at the turn that you hit strike 3. It's the turn after. Basically, it could be either thing as far as I can tell. But we also really got Dice Mahone with a monster hit on the turn 2. So it could also be damage based, and I just don't know. I need to find out. I guess one thing we could try is doing really weak attacks and see how many of those we're allowed to do. Because if it's strike based, they would start the Warlord combo after 3 turns. And if it's damage based, then we would be able to get in a lot more little hits before they start. I kind of hope it is the damage threshold, because we can game that to a degree. Like, we can encroach on it as much as possible, and then go for a grand slam before the end, is basically the idea. Just have to see. Just have to see. Guess we've got our experiment planned for the next fight. Unless I just want to tally it up. I really don't want to, I'm gonna be honest. I got enough stuff to worry about without poring over my own footage trying to figure out game mechanics. So we're just gonna kill shadowy figures for the next 40 minutes. And if we don't get another Warlord fight in today, oh well. I could go back and try it right now, but I want to be efficient about this, and we clearly don't have the defensive stats to survive the thing just yet. Like, if it's a maybe without wary, then it's a definitely not with, and we can't depend on not having wary. Run, buddy! Run! Buddy! This game. Oh, she was, and I let it go just in case she wasn't. I try to press the button at the same time I press the directional key, and it sometimes works and it sometimes doesn't. Completely unreliable. But yeah, I just want to pile on the shadowy figures while we're here, because this is the only time we're going to do it anyway. If we're going to get strong enough to do this, it's going to be all about efficiency. So no, we can't quite one-shot them. Or oh, okay, the bleed damage did it. I wanted to see how much more health he had. Looks like they might have about 3,000, maybe a little less. can't focus, I'm too busy jamming. Definitely one of my favorite battle tracks from X and Y. I'm looking forward to playing new games again. Goodness. I still haven't finished Face Raiders from last time I was supposed to start it. It's not like it's going to survive another 2-hour session of me playing it. I just need to get around to it. And it's very low on the priority list as things currently stand. But I'm always curious to see what my games playlist will throw at me next. I might need to refine how it calculates the thing, though. This was something I did for my Pokemon TCG generation spreadsheet, too. Because, like, there are limits to how effective a number generator can be, I think. Or at least, this is probably just my paranoid suspicion, because, like, something I noticed with my TCG player spreadsheet, or no, not my TCG player spreadsheet, it's my trading card game spreadsheet that generates my random Pokemon decks. One thing I noticed was it seems to come across the same results fairly often, and I was like, I don't know if this is a coincidence or what. It's kind of irritating, though. I would rather this be purely random rather than, like, some chart or algorithm having a hiccup and giving me small lives 3 weeks in a row. So instead of having it be, like, random between 1 and whatever number the list goes to, I set it up such that it would generate each digit individually, basically. So, like, it'll be random 1 to 10, and that's the first digit, well, 0 to 9, and then 0 to 9 again for the tens place, and then the final digit, it depends on how big the array is. They don't typically get to be more than a couple hundred or so, even with as many cards there is in the TCG right now, and they would have to reach, like, a level of 10,000 before I would consider adding another digit, which I could always just do anyway. But anyway, I have a lot more faith in Excel's ability to generate a number between 1 and 10, 0 and 9, than I do its ability to generate a random number between 1 and, like, 1,000. So I rigged it up so that it pulls all those digits for each array, and as far as I can tell, that makes it as purely random as it possibly can be, and helps to combat some of the issues of random generation. Like, apparently a lot of it comes down to, like, 1s and 0s, and you can get strings of 0s that will result in similar outcomes like what I was observing. But anyway, I set that up for my TCG spreadsheet, and I did not do that for my games spreadsheet, but I have a lot of games on there. Like, I track all the mods and things I've played, and it includes all the games I own, all the games on, like, Steam and whatnot, and whatever, all those things. It has every game. It's not every game I've ever played, because I don't own every game I've ever played anymore, but it's pretty comprehensive. Well, is that true? Is comprehensive like a yes or no thing? You either are or you aren't? Whatever. There are a lot of games on there, over 500, and I can't help but wonder if maybe I'm better off with a thing like I have the other way. Generating each digit, and then the last one is between, like, 1 and 5 or whatever. Anyway, that's kind of neither here nor there. Point is, I've got all these games I want to play, and I'm, like, not playing any of them right now because other stuff is happening. I could also theoretically start my other stream series, my commercial game stream series is now, if I so desired. I do not so desire. Everything is just a little hectic right now. Maybe once I'm better balanced on the ball again. We shall see. Maybe I'll just start it next year. That might be a good call too, actually. Like, this year I started the SMBX stuff. Next year I can start the other stuff. The 4th series on the thing, good grief. As if people couldn't get enough Hali already. I wonder what level of attention my channel would need for situations like this not to be totally dead. Because, like, I've seen other streamers who are very popular play, like, the most inane things, and they'll still get an audience. But my general experience has been that, well, people just don't attend any of these things anymore. I used to title them, "I'm live, come say hi," and, like, try to get some people here and there, but even then they generally didn't talk. The most engagement I've had is from, like, one autistic guy who dwells on, like, controversies in the DDLC community. Even he hasn't been around for a while. But it's whatever. Whether people direct their attention to me or not, it kind of doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'm here to share this stuff, and there's always going to be a record of it online, but it would be nice to have other people along the way. One of the streamers that inspired me before they crashed and burned was Cryotic, and my goodness, the scandal that was exposed that brought down the late night crew was just... it was hard to overstate, really. It was just horrible what was going on behind the scenes there. But, like, yeah, they were always so fun to watch. They always had a good time on their Saturday streams. But I don't have a friend group. I just have me. I don't have anyone to, like, bounce off of or talk to. And I also don't do, like, the show your face thing. So people can't really connect with me on that level. And I don't have, like, some cute anime avatar to VTube for me, so I don't have that going either. These are things I could change. Heck, I could probably get, like, some DDLC models and just try to do LPs as them, but I feel like that would be way cringe and way difficult on my throat, too. Because, my goodness, I've done mods where I've been, like, the POV of one of the characters, and even just narrating in their voice consistently can really wear me out. So I can imagine doing, like, an entire series as a Doki. And then there's the cringe factor, honestly. Like, there's more than enough VTuber cringe out there without me contributing to it. It'd just be nice to have more engagement, that's all. Without begging for it. I wish begging wasn't as effective as it seems to be. Because you see so many people, they're just like and subscribe for more, and ding the bell, and whatever the latest YouTube gimmick for the algorithm is. It's like, okay, whatever, sure. How about we just focus on the games, and people who are interested will join it. That's basically how we've been going since day one, and, you know, it's not like there's ever been zero growth on this channel. It's just very, very slow. And I'm happy for the people who come along. But I would also be happy to hear from them, and I almost never do. Who knows? Maybe my content just appeals to people similar to me, and I'm not very talkative, so they're not very talkative either. You wouldn't think I'm not talkative for, like, how much I try to ramble and, like, fill the air and stuff. But I'm not a conversation starter. I can do it here because, like, I can just put forward whatever BS nonsense is on my mind, and you get to put up with it whether you like it or not. There is no one to push back. It's kind of like starting a conversation with myself so I can talk about the things I'm interested in. Whereas whenever it's anyone else, well, I kind of just assume my interests are so esoteric that it would take longer to explain than it would to get a worthwhile conversation going regardless. But in the stream, I can talk about whatever, and it doesn't matter if you get it or not. Run, buddy. Run. Buddy! Oh my god, this game. Oh, she did for a second. Go. I don't know. I find it hard to imagine that I'll ever reach the level of prominence of, like, other YouTubers. I guess theoretically it could happen, because the number continues to go up. It used to go up to by like 12 to 15 per month, and now it's more like 8 to 10 at most. But, I don't know. Gotta get there somewhere, eventually. What I'd really like is if I had just like, even just one regular person who commented on the videos in like a substantial way. It's actually kind of what I do for some other people I watch that are smaller. I'll just like, I'll watch the thing, and I'll think of something to say. Literally anything. Well, not literally anything. I'll say something that indicates, hey, I watched it and here's my insight. That's basically how it goes. I'm basically being the change I want to see in the world, but I just don't have a devoted follower like that. So a lot of the time, the videos just go by with no comments. They still get like a handful of views and likes, and that's fine. But, whatever. I would like to hear from people. I really would. Can't engage with the community if they don't engage back. It's kind of, they need to initiate it, and sometimes it feels like they only will if you ask, and I'm not gonna do that. It's really difficult to get an organic thing going on YouTube. You know, I wonder if our defense hasn't actually been going up by more than just like one at a time, and if it's the wary status that makes it seem like it only raises a tiny bit. Because we've basically never leveled up when we haven't been wary, because these guys can inflict it too. Maybe we can try that next time. We'll see if we can't. We'll get like right up to the edge of a level up. Then we'll go camp and fully recover, and we'll see if we can beat one without getting wearied, so we can see what our defense stat actually is. Because, like, I think it shows our status in the menu as what it currently is. Okay, no, yeah. We don't need to check then after all, because it's showing our defense is 25 because of wary, but we saw on the level up screen that it climbed to 44 earlier. Alright, that answers that question. Our defense just doesn't climb very quickly. But geez, that also means wary, like, cuts our defense almost in half. That sucks. In other YouTube growth news, well, it's not YouTube growth news at all, it's Rumble growth news. I'm up to like 160-something subscribers there. Oh boy. I can't help but wonder if Rumble will eventually outpace YouTube, and then I'll have to like shift things around a bit. That is once again another we'll have to see how things go scenario. Because one thing that I really can't tell on either platform is if algorithms are working against me or not, because like exposure is everything on YouTube, and I don't do any of like the gimmicky stuff that would bring eyes to my stuff artificially. So like we've had natural growth, but it's been very slow. But like Rumble is a completely different platform with its own set of whatevers. So it's really, really difficult to tell. what might or might not be happening behind the scenes that could be helping or hurting my channel's growth and outreach. Very hard to say. But the Rumble does seem to grow more consistently than the YouTube. So who knows, it might catch up. Just maybe. Yeah, I really thought that would have killed this guy, because I thought we got a perfect hit at the start there. Maybe it varied too low. Man, remember when I thought this was going to be a short series because it was Lisa? I really had to decide to kill everything, didn't I? I will do it. I will be the first person on the internet to have cleared the post-patch warlords. Because no one else is really bothering as far as I'm aware. And I can see why, because it's going to be a whole lot of this. And then a whole lot of luck. You'd think, like, one obsessed superfan, which Lisa does not seem to have, would actually have bothered to do it by now. Why did I do that? Jeez. So I could behead him, of course! Dang it. I really don't like the behead animation. It's just hard for me to follow. There's like a flash right at the moment I'm trying to focus on where I need to do this. And I guess that's supposed to make it harder? I don't know. It's entirely possible it's only meant to make it flashier, and it unintentionally makes it harder, but it sucks. Maybe I should practice beheading on these guys. If I didn't want to get them done quickly. But I do generally need to stab them one time anyway. Because we do want to land a solid behead on what's-his-face when the time comes. I just can't tell if it's really going to take longer or not. Maybe it won't take as long as if I land it correctly. On the shadowy figure, I mean. Because we've seen it can do like 4,000 damage. That is no joke. I guess it's about twice as strong as Final Lunge, or whatever that's called. Alright, practicing. That time he died before I even got enough TP to do that. Oh well. Ugh. I need to recover. They're all better. Ow. Too bad these guys don't drop firebombs. Boy, wouldn't that be something. Ugh, that flash, I'm telling you. I can't stand it. Well, we're almost halfway to our level up. That's not bad. We might actually be pretty close by the end of the stream, considering. Because we started, like, around the 40-minute mark, and we got 15 minutes left. I was trying to watch to see the hit, or like, the circle after the flash, but they happen so close together that you can't really do that. Maybe I can learn to time it with the flash, like auditorially. I've had good luck with that kind of thing before, particularly in like the Paper Mario games. One of the things I really appreciate about them is that you can basically block anything as long as you know when the strike is going to happen. So if you can get a feel for like the cadence of the attack and when the damage lands, you can totally block it. Game. Oh, it's because the controller momentarily stopped working. It's like, why? Why won't you go? Didn't get to try again. Okay, so that was too early. Okay, so it's a little later than that. I want to be able to do this with my eyes closed. I'll try it. We'll see. Okay, that was way too late. Nope, too late again. I'm listening to the sound, and it's a little fast. Am I pressing it too early or too late? God, I'll have to like look. Maybe I'm not ready to do this with my eyes closed yet. Oh wow, this song's gonna last us like the rest of the stream. It's a very long song. And the Troubadour plays it 3 times, so that's like 18 minutes, maybe. Alright, so it's like midway through the thing, the sound effect. Oh, too early. Oh hey, I just realized these guys totally drop mags. We have so many mags. Oh well. I don't know if we'll ever bother to kill these guys again, but there are some factors we can keep in mind for next time. If there is a next time, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to grind while grinding. Gotta get good at beheading. It's not the same thing as final stabbing. Boom. I guess that is technically the most efficiently we can kill those guys too. Check Troubadour 1 second. Oh yeah, this song lasts for 1,224 seconds, however long that is. She wasn't even pissed for that last one. She got a lot of crits that battle. I think a perfect behead probably does more than its entire health bar. A true beheading, perhaps. so much for getting close to level up. 5 minutes left. That's okay. We're doing what we gotta do. What level are we anyway? Up to 26. I wonder if level 30 is around when this will be possible. God, I hope not. We'll keep trying with every passing level. Give it at least one good chance. Now, if Bay Lincoln would just stop sending us to hell, man. It's like a guaranteed wary, too. I would be tempted to bring the dead flower as a piece of equipment to this fight instead, but the badass belt buckle is just so much more defense. But like, what if the fact of not being waried and the reduced chances of being silenced and paralyzed are worth more than the defense you would have had? Considering wary lowers your defense in the first place. It's like, oh, what then? I don't know. I think wary is just kind of a fact of life. If we can avoid it, that's great, but we can't expect to avoid it, is basically what I'm trying to say. So I think I'm better off with the higher defense in general, and just trying to prevent wary. So we know that like Lincoln can be put to sleep. It's not like that's not an issue. Whoop whoop. It all comes down to RNG. You know, sometimes it doesn't even decide to do the move. It all depends. I also need to keep in mind, I can still drink some liquors before the fight, because like we have some. We just don't have the exquisite one. Yeah, say we get 15. We can start that with 5 more than usual. That's enough for like a pacify and a sleep bomb immediately, which is 2. Well, I mean, it's 1 chance to shut down Lincoln either way, but you prevent him from doing anything on the first turn at least. I don't know. I guess it's worth it to try using as many of those as you can, because like sleep is the only thing that's going to keep him down longer than 1 turn. Pacify is only as useful as what you're doing with the rest of your turn after. Hey, 2 perfects in a row. It'll probably be like 1 more battle before we call it for a day. This has been quite a training montage, hasn't it? Good grief. Oh. Mash, mash, mash. I did it again! Good God, I'm so bad. Psyching myself out here at the final minute. There we go. And look, and now it's time to stop. Alright, we'll go to the save crow, and that'll be it for this week. 42:30 to go. Okay. Another week of beating up guys and Lisa. Run, buddy. Alright, there we are. That's gonna do it for now. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you next time with more Lisa the Joyful. Hope to see you then. Bye-bye.